Superhero Stepdad back again, and I have my latest order of PSA cards that I'm sending off. This is for the month of April. It's one of at least 2 orders I'm sending off this month. These are vintage cards, which are 1979 or earlier. So I'm going to show you what I'm sending this time. This is for the value bulk submission. All these cards have a declared value of $499 or less. We have the 1935 Carl Hubble, 1948 Bowman, or Leaf, Paul Trout, Busy Trout, 1957 Yogi Berra, picked that up in a box. It was like $5. I don't know why the guy was letting him go so cheap, but it was nice to get. It's definitely miscut on the back, so I'm not sure if PSA will mark that, because you can see it a bit coming in through there. But other than that, it's pretty sharp. Frank Robinson, really cool card. It's one of my favorite cards of the order. It's a very low grade Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron, the World Series batting foes. As you can see, it's heavily damaged in all sorts of ways. I paid $10 for it, I think it was. So I'm hoping for a PSA 1. I'm not sure if they'll give it that, or if not, just a PSA Authentic, but I like that card a lot. 59 Ernie Banks. 59 Hank Aaron. I just picked this one up at Card Show. It's really sharp. Paid like $80 for it. I think it has a shot at like a 5 or a 6. That's on the case here. Yeah, it's a great card. Love the 59 set. 59 Whitey Ford. Got this one on Whatnot. Whatnot's a really cool place to get cards. 1960 Ernie Banks. 60 Stan Musial. Minnie Minoso. 68 Matthews. This card is crisp. Roger Maris All-Star. It's a really cool card. It looks great, but it has like some little scratches and stuff in it. They're not going to show up on this camera here, I don't believe. So I'm thinking maybe this will get like a 3 or a 4, but still, it's definitely worth getting graded. 62 Sandy Koufax. This card is pretty nice. It might get the OC designation. I'm not sure. It probably will. It also has some writing right there. Somebody, I guess on the card, it says struck out, but they didn't, I don't know if they didn't write the T or Topps didn't print the T on the card, but it says OU and somebody wrote the T. So it's definitely going to get the MK for Mark on that. But it's still, even in all those qualifiers and everything, it's still worth grading. It's a great card. Other than all those qualifiers, it's pretty sharp. Nice card. 62 Mini. Such a cool card. Picked this one up at a toy store that had a few cards, and I think I paid $10 for it. 62 Ron Santo. Just got this one. It's really nice. It's darker than the others. I thought at first, I'm like, do I have the Venezuelan one? But then I'm like, no, because it's not in, it's all in English here. And I also noticed in the number up there, it says Topps 170. The others from the 62 set that I have here, Koufax and Minoso, don't say Topps in the circles. That's what made me think, do I have some variant or something? But I don't. As far as I could tell, all the Santos say the Topps up there. I'm not sure why some cards from the set just have the number in the circle and Santo doesn't, but it is what it is. 63 Tony Kubek. Picked this one up down in Orlando. Really crisp card. It's always nice to pick up a 63 that doesn't have major chipping. This one was a pleasant surprise that I literally just discovered today. It's the 65 Clemente. And when I saw the back, because I have another 65 Bert Campaneris here, the next one. And when I saw, I'm like, oh, the Clemente is darker. Is it just is it dirty or something? And I'm like, no, because the Campaneris printed in USA and the Clemente printed in Canada. I'm like, oh, I've got an OPG card. And the OPGs of this are about 3 times the price of the Topps cards. So I have this pre-graded as a 3, and in a 3, it's like an $80 card for Topps. So in a 3 for OPG, I would assume is like $250. So that was quite the nice little surprise, because I did not even know that when I bought it. Didn't notice it. Of course, the Campaneris, I picked this up at our local card shop, and I paid $15 for it, and it is in fantastic shape. There's a little wear up on the corner. That's on this card saver, that line you see up there. I have this pre-graded, I think, as a 7 with an outside shot as an 8, which would be fantastic, because I mean that card is just crisp. I keep saying shard. These aren't shards. That's it for the first stack. Next up, Wahoo McDaniel. He was a pro wrestler for a while, and this was, I think it's his rookie card. One of his only cards. I didn't even know he played football for the Dolphins. I knew he was a wrestler in like the 70s, I think 80s. I remember hearing about him when I was a little kid. I got this on Whatnot as well, but that's pretty cool. Some 68s, Don Drysdale. Nice card. Phil Necro. Military service in 1963. 69 Ernie Banks. This shard, no card, is in fantastic shape. I'm trying to remember where I got this one. I want to say I got it at Orlando, but I'm not certain. But yeah, great shape. 69 Willie Mays. This one's kind of beat up, but still, I mean, it's a Willie Mays. It'll probably grade like maybe a 2 or a 3. But it didn't cost much to get when I bought it raw. Is that ink in between the league and the games played? I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll see when it comes back. 69 Bob Gibson. Love the look of these cards from this year. 69s are great. Bob struck out 17 batters in the first World Series game of 1968. Wow. He's one of the best of all time. And in the Mickey Mantle 5th Series checklist, you can't go wrong with a Mantle. I think I paid like $10 for that. I mean, it's gonna grab it pre-graded as like a 4 or a 5. It's not that high value of a card, but it is Mantle. Willie McCovey. I was debating if I wanted to just like sell this raw or send it in, because it's gonna grade like a 4 maybe. It's such a cool card, and it'll, you know, be worth twice what I get. And it'll sell for like $50 once it's graded. So I'm gonna send it in. It's just such a cool card. 1970 Tom Seaver. This card's crisp, really nice. Little off-centered left to right, not off-centered, but thicker border on the right than on the left. The back, you know, is pretty great. So curious to see what that gets. Same with this Joe Morgan. It has that common print line that you see on the bottom. I don't know if I can get any closer here. And from what I've heard, PSA does not knock the grade down for those because it's so common. So fingers crossed, because this card is so cool. I love those old jerseys, as much as I'm not a fan of the Astros right now since they beat my Phillies. Those jerseys are awesome. Astros have some of the best jerseys. So that's a cool card. We have some of the 71s here. Such a tough series to get graded. The Thurman Munson, not actually his rookie, but his second year, his first year as a standalone card. Low grade, but still one of the most desired cards of the set. Dave Concepcion rookie, the big red machine of the 70s, one of the integral parts of that team. This one I think I have graded as a 6, perhaps a 7. It's a pretty nice copy. Speaking of the Reds, Pete Rose. Great card. I have 2 Ted Simmons here, his rookie. This card has gone up in price quite a bit over the past couple years since he got into the Hall of Fame. Brooks Robinson, such a cool card. I don't know if he just got hit or if he's like just avoided getting hit, but the look on his face there is like a ball got a little bit too close to me, but really cool card. A couple Bob Gibsons. Again, he has such cool cards. Speaking of wrestlers with the Wahoo McDaniel here, signed Robert Gibson. If I'm not mistaken, Robert Gibson was one half of the Rock and Roll Express tag team from back in the 80s with Ricky Morton. Yeah, couldn't help but say that. Bob Gibson. All right, on to the third stack. The Nolan Ryan card. This card's beat up, but you know, maybe it grades a 2 or 3. And I mean, you can't go wrong with this card. It's one of the most iconic cards of the Nolan Ryan run. Speaking of iconic cards, Roberto Clemente 71. This one's in rough shape. It was in a big case that I bought, and I averaged out all the cards that I paid for in that case came out to like $5 a piece. So this card was basically $5, and it's gonna grade probably a 1, maybe a 2 if I'm lucky. But regardless, it's still, even in those lower grades, will still sell for like $60, $70 or more. Some more Pittsburgh legends here. 72 Topps football, Elsie Greenwood rookie. And also from the Steel Curtain, Mean Joe Green. I mean, these just two of the best right there. Great shape on these. Steve Garvey. This card is very sharp. I love the little, what Topps used to write on some of the cards. Steve was married during the 1971 off season. That's what they chose to write there. Next card is my holy grail as a kid. I always wanted this card because it's my favorite player of all time. Yes, Ron Say. No, just kidding. Mike Schmidt. He is and always has been my favorite player, and I never had this card as a kid because it was way too expensive when I was a kid, and it's still expensive, but I was able to get this in a trade a couple months ago, and I'm just now getting around to submitting it. And this is the only copy I've ever owned. It's really, really well centered on the front. The corners aren't too bad. I think I have it pre-graded as a 6, 5. It's 5 or a 6. I asked a bunch of opinions and I got, the consensus was a 5 to a 6. Because the back, there's a little bit of wear on the corners, as you can see. So I'm really curious to see what this one will get. This is on the card saver of this line here. So it scared me at first when I saw it, but that's not part of the card. Here's a really nice Don Baylor mini from the 1975 set. It's not worth much, but it's in really great shape, so I figured I would send it in because 9s of this are worth like $200 or something, $150, $200. I don't know if I'll pull a 9, but it's got a decent chance because it's in great shape. Robin Yount, his rookie from 1975, not the mini, the regular size. It's great. I think I paid $40 for this one, I want to say, and I think I have it pre-graded as a 7, perhaps an 8. But that's a great one. And the other iconic rookie from the set, one of the most iconic rookies, if not cards of all time, the George Brett 75 rookie. This was also in that case where I got cards really, really cheap. This is not going to grade high, obviously. You can see all the wear all over it, but still, I had to send it in to get graded because, I mean, it's a George Brett rookie. Reggie Jackson, 75 Topps, high grade card. There's not much wear at all on this. This is a beautiful copy of this card. I think I paid $30 for this at a local card shop. There's like a tiny bit of wear on that corner there, but minimal. We think that this was a 7, perhaps an 8 would be wonderful. There's a couple more Steelers. Rookie Dwight White and Lynn Swann from the 1975 set. These are just great. Love it. Such cool cards. This is one of my favorite cards when I was a kid back in the 80s. And never had these cards, but glad to get them now. Some Nolan Ryan. Bread and butter cards, if you will, the Nolan Ryan. Babe Ruth. The Sporting News all-time All-Stars. Shows all his stats and everything. And the last stack. Jack Lambert, another Steeler legend here. This card, I believe this is his rookie card. Yeah. Another Nolan Ryan. Another big red machine, Tony Perez. Such a cool card. Love the look on this one. Steve Largent, rookie. This one is pretty nice. Nicely centered. Walter Payton. I believe this is his second year. Picked this up at a flea market shop that the guy running it used to own a card shop, and he had a bunch of cards just stashed away, and this was one of them that I picked up. It's really sharp. Some 78s, Reggie Jackson. I got these at the Pittsburgh card show that I went to, what is it, 2 weeks ago, I believe? And the guy I bought these from, most of these 78s here, he said that he bought them from a guy who had them stored away for over 30 years and hadn't touched them. And they were all in like these like cases. And I looked over most of them. Most of them I have pre-graded as an 8 or 9, like this Joe Morgan I'll get to. Like some of them I have pre-graded as a 9. And I know PSA doesn't like giving out 10s on stuff like this, but if anything's gonna get a 10, it's like, I'll get to it in a minute, but I think I have this Reggie graded as a 9. I mean, there's just like no wear on these. Well, actually, the Reggie might have a little bit on my corner, maybe not. But two of the Thurman Munsons. This one here is a little bit thicker left to right, and the centering's not as great. This one's not bad. The Andre Dawson was one of those cards that had been just sitting aside. Such a cool, intimidating look on the hawk there. Love this card. I mean, as sharp as you're gonna find. It's not on the card, that little white dot there. It's gone. All right, here's the Joe Morgan. I have two of them. Let me set these down. I'm not sure. It's not this one. Yeah, I think this one here, maybe. I mean, this card is, I mean, there's cards that come out of packs today that aren't as sharp as this card. So I'm hoping for a 9 on this. If PSA wants to give me a call and say we're going to give you a 10, I'd be ecstatic. And the guy wanted, I think it was between $10 and $15 a piece on all these 78s. So I jumped on all of them. And Willie Stargell. And this card's not worth that much, but it is just in such good. This one has a shot at a 10. I mean, this one, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly centered. You know, the back's a little bit off, but that's not going, I mean, it's still within PSA's, you know, definition of a 10. So we'll see. Walter Payton, I believe the 3rd year. I think I got this at that same flea market where I got the 2nd year Payton. Ozzie Smith. I'm gonna make a separate video of, I picked up an Ozzie Smith rookie when I was down in Florida that is really, really, really sharp. And I'll show it in another video that I'm gonna put out in a couple days. But this one here is maybe a 6. You know, it's almost impossible to get these with a right border. I mean, the fact that this has a right border is, you know, great. I mean, it's good otherwise. But I figured maybe a 6 on that. Thurman Munson. Captain. It's one of my favorite cards. George Brett, 79. It's just such a cool card. He's one of those players, a few players that just have really cool cards. Bob Gibson's one, and George Brett is another, just the first two I can think of, that throughout their career, Cal Ripken Jr. is another. They just always had cool cards, especially with tops. I mean, I guess Gibson pretty much exclusively had tops, and Brett for the early part, but I love this card. It's just so cool. I think these have a decent shot at 8s. You know, I'd be happy if it gets an 8. Anything higher than that, I'd be ecstatic. It's pretty good. Pete Rose. Nice card. And the last card going off from this vintage order of 70 is the Juice. O.J. Simpson. Not sure what that little mark is right there. I don't know if that might just be a print thing. O.J. has filmed 6 major motion pictures. This was 1979. Well, we know he did more than that because he was in The Naked Gun, at least the first one. I'm not sure if he was in the other ones. And then he was in that movie in the early 90s where he was riding down the LA freeway. Yeah, we all know how that ended. All right. This card is not being sent off. This is just one. My favorite TV show of all time, Lost. This is Charlie, a piece of his shirt. I just said it here, but in case anybody was wondering, I'm not grading that. It's like that. But that is what I have for this order. And I will have more. These, like I said, I'm going to send these cards off this week. It's right now as I film it. This is the beginning of April. So with PSA's stated turnaround time of 65 business days, I don't expect these to be back till somewhere around summer, mid-July, something in that area. So whenever they do, I will have the reveal. So thanks for watching, and I will have more videos soon. Thanks.